Yo, what up, lifers? What up, lifers? What up, lifers? It's Dave Life. It's Dave Life. You're watching Dave Life After Dark. You're watching Dave Life After Dark. It's the After Dark podcast. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us tonight. So I want to say thank you, man. I appreciate that. Let's start this off like we always do, the right way. Heavenly Father, have your way, Lord. I pray that you would speak to your people. Father, I pray that you would enlighten us, entertain us, inform us, Lord. I pray less of me and more of you. I pray that I would get out of the way and let you have us have a great show tonight. Speak to your people. Lord, cover us in your blood. Forgive us for our sins that we've committed by both commission and omission. Charge to our heads and not our hearts. Keep us safe on this national holiday. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen, amen, and amen. What up, y'all? What's up, lifers? What's up, lifers? Everybody, let's get the music back up in here. How y'all been? Hope everybody's good, man. You could have been anywhere in the world here with us tonight. I want to say thank you, man. If you want to support Dave Life After Dark and Dave Life TV, you can hit us on Cash App at $ Dave Life TV. Hit us on Cash App at $ Dave Life TV. You can hit us on Venmo at Dave Life. Send us a little tip money for coffee, for food, for whatever it is that you want to send us money for. It'll help us with production and everything. I appreciate y'all. Shout out to everybody that's watching live on YouTube. Everybody's watching live on YouTube. Everybody's watching on Instagram. Everybody is on Twitter. I appreciate y'all. And on Facebook, because we're live on all platforms. Tonight, we're going to get into something. I don't know if y'all heard what's going on. I don't know if y'all heard. This is what we're talking about today. Young Thug. He pleads guilty. Young Thug pleaded guilty, and the YSL RICO case is over. Young Thug pled guilty. I don't know if y'all heard that, but Thugger pled guilty, and Megan the Stallion admitted that she lied on Tory. She admitted it to Gail. Well, she admitted that she lied to Gail about Tory. All right, so the same as lying on somebody. Let me see. What's up, everybody? Hey, shout out to everybody watching. Okay, that's what's up. I see you. I see you, Erica, in the building. I see somebody else in the building. We got a few people on Facebook Live. Shout out to Facebook Live. Shout out to YouTube. Shout out to Twitter. All right. Let me see. Matter of fact, is it? Yeah, are we up on the ground? Let me see if we up on the ground. But yeah, man, your boy Tory Lanez, man. Megan admitted that she lied about something, and we're gonna talk about that. But Thug, man. Yeah, there it is. Okay, so we are live. Shout out to everybody watching on YouTube and Instagram. I see Ann, I see Lanez, I see Selena. What's up, y'all? Dad, did y'all hear about what happened with the Thug? Let's get into the Thug case. Cool. All right, y'all know how to follow and subscribe and all that stuff. Let's get into the Young Thug case, man. All right. So, Young Thug is getting out of prison. He's getting out of jail. I don't know if you guys have seen the information, but Thug is getting out. He definitely pled guilty to some charges. See if I can find the information on that and pull it up for y'all right quick. I watched the breakdown, and I sat there for a little bit of time today checking it out. And I'm gonna fast forward to some pieces. Let me see if I can. Hold on, guys. No, I gotta get the sound right. Hold on, people. Gotta make sure I get this sound right, because I want y'all to be able to hear everything. But hey, put in the comments if you've heard what's going on with Thug. Put in the comments if you've heard what's going on. Try to connect my sound here. Boom. Boom. All right. I think we should be able to see it. All right, here we go. Sorry for the delay, y'all. Okay, so Young Thug was in court today, and there was a big discussion on what was going to happen with his case. Some people were wondering if he was going to be able to plead guilty or take a plea deal or what have you. I don't know if you heard, but originally the prosecution had given a plea deal. They had suggested that he get 15 years of probation, but the prosecution and the defense couldn't agree upon the terms of his release, his conditional release, like what would happen when they release him, what kind of restrictions would be on him. They weren't able to really um, get into that and agree. And so when the prosecution couldn't agree with the defense on the terms of his release and what his restrictions would be, because they would have all these special cases about his release, the prosecution said, you know what, we're taking the deal off the table. So it looked like for a minute he had a deal and rejected it. And then the prosecution came after him for 45 years, the full term of all of the sentences, 45 years. So that's what people were discussing. If you go back on and look online, some people are talking about, what happened with Young Thug and all that stuff. And there was a deal on the table, and they didn't come to an agreement. The deal was removed. The prosecution presented to the judge, let's just go ahead and give him the whole 45 years. And then Young Thug's team presented their own deal to the judge. If you're in the comments, put in the comments if you know about the deal or if you know what the terms were. Put that stuff in the comments if you're on YouTube. As a matter of fact, come on over to YouTube, y'all, because I see some comments. I see some comments. Shout out to the live. I see y'all. Everybody is watching on Instagram. Come on over to YouTube. It's a better experience, and plus I can monitor the comments a little bit better on YouTube, and I can post them. So come on over to YouTube, search for DaveLifeTV, all one word, and then you'll see us. We're live. Join the live. All right. Let me play a little bit of what happened in this case, so we can hear a little bit of the case. All right, got it. Let's take a look at this, and I'll fast forward to parts that are important.
In 2022, Jaden Myrick sought permission from defendant Williams to stab Mr. Bennett while Mr.
Unit. Detective Underwood proved a murder case or any other case, but they wanted a motive. So they made it, I think, an inspiration to the line.
All right, here we go.
Horrible episode that Mr. Williams knew, and that's how Mr. Williams knew his son, who's Mr. Huey. And Mr. Huey's on hard times, and Mr. Huey's making mistakes. And Mr. Huey supposedly asked the court for house arrest.
There we go. All right, so now we're getting into the part of the plea that where they're asking for certain things from the court.
All other counts. On count 57, which is a gang count, Your Honor, not a leader, guilty plea, 20 years to serve, 5 years commuted to time served, concurrent with count 1. With regard to count 58, which is possession of, I believe it is marijuana with intent to distribute, 10-year sentence on probation, concurrent with count 1. On count 59, which is violation Georgia Controlled Substance Act, possession of codeine with intent to distribute, 5 years on probation, concurrent with count 1. On count 59, Your Honor, which is violation Georgia Controlled Substance Act, possession of cocaine, 3 years on probation, concurrent with count 1. Count 61, 5 years of probation. It's a firearm count, consecutive to the other counts, consecutive to before count 56.
Now this is the plea deal that his lawyer
to serve commuted to time served.
So what happened is, if you're just coming in, everybody, thanks for watching live. What happened is Thug they gave him a potential plea deal with the prosecution. It was 15 years, and it had some stipulations, and they couldn't agree upon the stipulations around his release and what he could and couldn't do. So the prosecution took it off the table and went ahead and prosecuted for the entire 45 years and recommended that to the judge. The judge was going to be the person that was going to sentence him. It wasn't going to be a jury. It was going to be a judge. If he pled guilty. All right. So finally caught me live online. Yeah, we live right now. So we're listening to Young Thug's lawyer suggest to the judge, can you please sentence him concurrently instead of consecutively? Can you, instead of doing 45 consecutive years, can you break it down based on the charges and do some consecutively and things like that? So I'll let that play a little bit more, and then we'll discuss.
That should be a total sentence, Your Honor, that we are respectfully requesting the court to consider. I believe it's 45 years to serve 5 years in prison, commuted to time served, 40 years on probation, credit for the time already served and community time served. As I said, after 3 years of probation, the probation becomes non-reporting, and after successful completion of 10 years on probation, the balance of the sentence be terminated. Time already served and
Let's
community
listen
time
to that again.
probation concurrent with count 1. Count 61, 5 years of probation. It's a firearm count, consecutive to the other count.
So he's going to summarize to the court what they're requesting, and we're going to play that at regular speed so you can hear it.
And then count 62, 10 years to serve commuted to time served. That should be a total sentence, Your Honor, that we are respectfully requesting the court to consider. I believe it's 45 years to serve 5 years in prison.
Right there. So real quick, he said they're requesting the courts to give him 45 years, which is what the prosecution was saying, but he's saying to serve only 5 years in prison. So 45 total years, only 5 years in prison. All right. Let's keep going. 45 years, only 5 years in prison.
Commuted to time served.
Commuted to time served. We got to break that down. So he's requesting 45 years, only 5 years in prison. And the 5 years in prison, he wants to commute that down to what Thug has already served. And Young Thug has already served, I think, 2.5 years, something like that, 2 years, something like that. So being that he's been on trial and been held in custody for, let's just call it 2 years for the sake of argument, he's saying, can we take that 45, the 5 years that we want him to serve and bring it down to, commute it down to his 2 years that he's already done, 2 years and some change. Okay, so 45 years, but 5 served, the rest on probation. Let's keep listening.
40 years on probation, credit for the time already served and community time served, as I said, after 3 years of probation.
So he wants him to be on probation for 40 years. That is the deal that they were asking. Can he be on probation for 40 years? That is a long time. Okay? On probation. But this is what they're asking. All right, let's keep going.
The probation becomes non-reporting. And
after 3 years, the probation would become non-reporting. So 40 years of probation. But after 3, he doesn't have to report in. But of course, they still will be watching him, making sure he abided by the rules of his probation. So essentially, a 45-year sentence. Only 5 served in prison, commuted down to time served, which is 2.5 years or 2 years, whatever that time is. And then after that, to fill out the rest of the 5 years, 3 years of probation that he's got to report. And then after that, the rest of the 45 years, which would be 40 years on probation, he don't have to report, but he would still be on probation and on the books.
after successful completion of 10 years on probation, the balance of the sentence be terminated.
So then he says, after successfully completing 10 years of probation, that just get rid of the next 30 years. That's what they were requesting. So essentially, it was saying, look, we want Thug to serve 5 years, get time served for what he's already done, which is 2 and some change. He gets to go home today. This is the proposition from the defense team. He gets to go home. The rest of the 3 years of the sentence he serves on probation, and after that, he ain't got to report. Then he got 7 more years on probation to get to the 10-year mark. If he successfully completes the 10-year mark, his entire rest of the sentence is commuted. That's what they were asking. That's what they were asking. So they essentially was asking him to have to deal with 10 years of having to report in, or 10 years of being watched by the authorities and having to live his life a certain way. That's what they were asking. So the defense asked for 10 years. Prosecution originally, the deal was 15 years. But after they couldn't work the deal out, then the prosecution said, F it, we just go ahead and give them the 45 years then, if y'all don't want to play ball. So that's how they got to this point. So let's continue to listen to what happened after this.
Mr. Williams asked the court for house arrest for 3 years as part of the sentence, but house arrest specifically defined that Mr. Williams will be in his home or at any lawful employment, touring, studio, performance, business meetings, and the like. Wear an ankle monitor for the first year and pay the costs of same, and the company must be approved by probation department, and the ankle monitor to be affixed within 10 days of hopeful release from custody. Mr. Williams cannot possess a firearm, but he can be around licensed security who are armed or other persons who are lawfully carrying a firearm with a license. And that would be knowingly for Mr. Williams. Mr. Williams can transfer probation outside the state of Georgia. He has residences in the state of California. He has studios in the state of California. Williams allowed to travel throughout our country and the world for lawful work-related industries. Mr. Williams wants to perform. He's going to do this anyway, Your Honor, but we made it part of the sentence. At least one concert each year at a venue. If they'll have him over,
That's important.
10,000 people, if that is workable for the venue and Mr. Williams' management, and he is going to donate all of the profits that he makes to a 501c3 charity.
So the defense team was proposing as a part of the deal. Now, just for everybody that's catching up, we're talking about the deal that the defense team proposed. Okay. Ultimately, the judge amended the deal and changed it a certain way. But they were saying that Young Thug would do at least one benefit concert a year to benefit a 501c charity program, and that he would give money to the Fulton County Sheriff's Department. This is what they were proposing, saying, look, if you let us out today and put us on probation, this is what we'll do.
Charity. Mr. Williams wants to pledge $100,000 for the next 3 years to the Fulton County Sheriff's Office if they will hold an illegal firearm buyback to buy back firearms that are not supposed to be on our streets.
That's important. So look, they missed out on the deal that the prosecution had proposed. So now the defense was saying, look, we want a deal. We're going to ask for this non-negotiable plea deal. We're just asking for this deal. And as a part of it, we'll give $100,000 a year to the sheriff's department, as long as if the sheriff's department has a buyback program for illegal firearms, right? So people can come and sell their firearms, and the sheriff's department will buy it back. Thug was going to fund those drives. So he's going to give them $100,000 a year for 3 years. That's $300,000 for the sheriff's department to now put back into the black community in Fulton County and say, hey, we'll buy your illegal guns. No harm, no foul. Come back, get them off the streets. We will buy them. Right. So Thug was trying his best with his defense team to show, look, I'm trying to help the community that I hurt. by doing certain things. So let's continue to listen to what was said, because this is interesting. This is important to see and to hear, especially for the youth.
Mr. Williams does not wish to go near the Cleveland Avenue area, not to insult that area at all, but it is just not a good idea under this circumstance.
Okay, look, if you ain't from Atlanta, if you have never lived in Atlanta, you don't know about Cleveland Avenue. Cleveland Avenue, hey, shout out to Atlanta, man, if you know about Cleveland Avenue. I know it's a lot of strip clubs over there on Cleveland Avenue. And I ain't been over there since, man, because I went to college and high school in Atlanta, so I ain't been over in Cleveland Avenue in a minute. But shout out to everybody in Atlanta, man. If you can put in the comments if you know about Cleveland Ave, and why Thug would say he don't want to be over there. I'm assuming it because, like I said, it's a lot of strip clubs, probably a lot of gang activity and things like that he, according to the stipulations of his probation, would have to stay away from. So you see here that this is young Thug saying through his lawyer, I want to put a stipulation that I will not come near Cleveland Avenue. So it sounds like whatever he was into, in those areas, that he's like, yo, man, I'm saying to the judge that I don't want to frequent that area. I don't want to be over there. You know what I'm saying? For whatever reason, you know? somebody said, we're going to get to Megan in a minute. We're going to get to Megan in a minute, y'all. All right. So we're going to talk about that in a minute. They asking about the Megan title. But yo, so Thug didn't want to be involved with Cleveland Avenue. I'm see if anybody got comments. What's up, Tasha? What's up, XL Photography? Ron the Clock, what up? Drew, what up? I see everybody watching. All right, let's keep going.
And he can drive on the highway, but otherwise not come within 1 mile of the area that we call Cleveland Avenue, and we can give the exact dimensions of that.
He don't want to come within 1 mile of Cleveland Ave.
Perform 100 hours of community service per year for the next 3 years as designated by probation department. Mr. Williams can associate, and this was agreed to previously, with people who are convicted felon or alleged gang members solely for lawful purpose of making music.
So that's important. He can associate with convicted felons. This is what they're requesting, that he can associate with convicted felons or gang members, as long as if it's for official business use, because they know he's a recording artist. They know that a lot of people in the recording industry, at least in the style of music that he makes, may have felonies or may have ties to gangs. So they're saying, look, in an official capacity as a recording artist, he can have contact with known felons or known gang members. Other than that, no. All right, that's what they're saying. Let's keep rocking and rolling.
I see Ms. Love shaking her head, and I think it's fair to establish that until the entirety of the negotiations were agreed to, it was all up in the air.
Sure.
That may have been something y'all had already hammered out, but it's not anything they're bound to.
Absolutely.
Fair. Okay.
I agree.
So you see here is very much a negotiation. The judge over in the corner there, she's saying, hey, the prosecution, which is right here at the front of the is right here in front of us. And they're saying, hey, the prosecution didn't agree per se that he could have contact with felons or known gang members, but that might have been discussed, but we didn't decide anything. And he's saying that's true. We're just putting it in our request. So you can see his lawyer has to be really upfront and clear and honest, and not playing the games with the judge or the prosecution. And let's keep watching.
Mr. Williams can have no contact with any of the supposed victims, and there was an Exhibit A attached to the state's proposed plea agreement, negotiated plea agreement that was sent to you. So we adopt that Exhibit A, but we can give it to the court if you need those names. And Mr. Williams have no contact with any of the co-defendants in this indictment, with the exception of Mr. Quantavious Greer, that is his biological brother, as well as Mr. Sergio Kitchens. He's a phenomenal artist. He goes perform known as Gunna, Gunna. Mr. Williams and Mr. Kitchens are contractually obligated, and they frequent perform music
Now,
together. Your Honor, any other conditions that this honorable court deems appropriate?
you see, he just mentioned, I know it went quick. I'll try to rewind it. He just mentioned Gunna. And when I talked to my cousin about this, he was like, yo, you know, a lot of people had an issue with Gunna, but Thug said he still need to work with Gunna. He definitely said, and I'll rewind this slightly. He said in an official capacity, he needs to work with him in the music industry. So let's play that part one more time.
Kitchens, he's a phenomenal artist. He goes
Kitchens.
performer known as Gunna.
Gunna.
G-U-N-N-A. Mr. Williams attached to the state's proposed plea agreement, negotiated plea agreement that was sent to you. So we adopt that Exhibit A, but we can give it to the court if you need those names. And Mr. Williams have no contact with any of the co-defendants in this indictment, with the exception of Mr. Quantavious Greer, that is his biological brother, as well as Mr. Sergio Kitchens. He's a phenomenal artist. He goes performer known as Gunna, G-U-N-N-A. Mr. Williams and Mr. Kitchens are contractually obligated, and they frequently perform music together.
So you can see a lot of people are saying, you know, oh man, why he trying to get back with Gunna, you know, and all of that. Look, y'all, he's in a contract. He's in a contract. All right, with Gunna. And they do make music together. And so he put in the stipulations, look, I need to have contact with this person and possibly work with this person because as part of my way to make a living, I'm in a contract with this person. So that's the clear reason why Gunna's name was mentioned up. It wasn't because of all the street stuff they say about him snitching or not snitching, or, you know, oh, Thug is, you know, wasn't gonna plead, Thug is pleading. Look, man, when you facing your freedom, and everyone else has taken plea deals and done what they had to do for their families and for their future, Thug did what he had to do, and he admitted to certain things that he was guilty of, and he pled no contest, no contendere, which is no contest, nolo contendere, which is no contest, and we're gonna get to that. So let's keep watching. But that part that we just saw was a part about Gunna. Gunna was mentioned because he's under contract with Gunna. He needs to have have contact with him because he's under contract with him in order for him to continue his career as a music artist and make a living.
Your Honor, any other conditions that this honorable court deems appropriate? I want to thank the court for all your time. Always, I want to thank Ms. Percival for everything she has done. I want to thank Mr. Williams for allowing me to stand with him. I really never thought we would be here, but this is his decision. I want to thank the Honorable Keith Adams, who may want to speak, Your Honor, but I can never imagine a better lawyer than Keith Adams.
Mr. Adams, do you want to add anything to the record?
Okay, so I'm gonna pause it for a moment because
I don't know that there's really much to add. Mr. Steele has represented to the court.
So, Mr. Adams, they both spoke. They presented to the court the deal. I want to, if I can, I want to rewind to the part where Thug had to plead guilty.
Mr. Williams to 20 years out. Mr. Huey ignores Mr. Person who is Wayne, a performer known as Little. He gave money. He doesn't. It is right to give them evidence in here.
All right, Mr. Steele or Mr. Adams, does the defense want to put anything on the record? Obviously, you need to make a record.
So that was on the record. Hold on, y'all. Trying to get to the part,
Your Honor,
where he had to plead
on loyalty. Mr. Wood
Really is a case. You can't be that way when you
That's what Thug.
All right, Mr. Williams, is there anything that you
feel that there is anything within the state's proposal that might be appropriate in terms of the sentence for Mr. Williams.
Thank you.
We're gonna come back to that part.
The right to vote. Backloaded guilty plea is a blind.
Okay. Yeah, I was looking for the part where he actually pled. That might be in a different clip.
I'm older, I'm grown.
But let's just play what Thug said.
I joined Mr. Steele and Mr. Williams in asking you to do the same. And I thank you as well, as Mr. Steele did, for your patience with us and for bringing some order to the proceedings that candidly was needed. That's all I have to say. I thank you again, and I ask you to consider everything that's been put before you.
All right, Mr. Williams, is there anything that you want to say?
Yes, ma'am. I take full responsibility for, my crimes or my charges. I want to say sorry to my family, my mom. My mom got 11 kids. I can't say all their names, my managers, my kids that's not here. Really, that got something to do with this situation. I want to say sorry, just like, having so much time investing into this, and I am a smart guy. I am a good guy, and I really got a good heart. I find myself in a lot of stuff because I was just nice or cool, and I understand that you can't be that way when you reach a certain height because it could end bad, and it don't really have to have nothing to do with you, but it could end bad and it could, fall on you. And I know the choice is yours, it's up to you. And I hope that you allow me to go home today and just trust in me to just do the right thing and never see you again unless it's at a bar in the future or something. Just out of this type of situation, I promise you I won't ever be in this type of situation again. I'm going away. I've learned from my mistakes. I come from nothing and I've made something and I didn't take full advantage of it. I'm sorry. Through these last 2.5 years of my life, you are really, truly, honestly, the best thing that has happened to me because you made everything fair for me and everybody involved on both sides. I'm sorry to the sheriff, everybody for just having to put extra time in. I know y'all got paid more money, but I'm sorry for y'all having to put this extra time in to be away from y'all family, and I just hope that you find it in your heart to allow me to go home and be with my family and just do better as a person. I know what I bring to the table. I know what I am. I know the heights I've reached. I know the impact I got on people, period, in the community, all people. I learned that late, like these past 2 or 3 years of my life, I kind of learned that late. And maybe it was because I was, probably on drugs or anything, I don't know. But I have came to my senses and I understand what I mean to this world. But I am a good guy, I don't mind doing stuff like, free shows, and I always did that. I did free shows and gave it to single parents, millions of dollars. I made $1.8 million on a free show, and I gave it all to single parent charity. And I did like 2 or 3 shows that made like $700,000 a piece, and I gave it to the breast cancer organization. Like, I do things. I put millions of dollars back into my community for real. I really did. I did more than anybody ever did from my side, But I understand, rap lyrics. I understand how it could be twisted. I understand what it could do to the mind of people. I understand all that, and I promise you, I'm 100% changing that. It's just I'm older, I'm grown now, and it's just like I'm smarter. It's more things to rap about. Like I've experienced a lot of good things. I experienced more bad things, but I experienced a lot of good things too. And anyway, I can go forever.
Well, I appreciate it. And I appreciate that you do realize how much of an impact you have on people. I mean, it's past.
So we're watching Young Thug and his statements to the judge. And I'm gonna go back. I do want to continue to hear what the judge said. We're watching Young Thug and his statement to the court about how he's learned and how he's changed. He did have to plead guilty on certain charges. I don't have them right in front of me, but he did plead guilty of certain charges related to gangs and I think possession of marijuana. He pled no contest, if I'm not mistaken, to the RICO and the racketeering charges. I believe he pled no contest, and they put a deal forth I had to turn the volume up because Thug was far from the mic. So he has a softer voice. But yeah, Mr. Williams, young Thug, has been. He did get sentenced today. He did have to plead guilty, and when he pled guilty, they gave him a deal, and that's part of it. You plead guilty, you plead no contest. The judge gives you a deal. He was facing 45 years. He got 15 years of probation. It's a complicated way that they sentenced him. All right. I'm going to play what the judge said so you can hear it directly from the judge, and then we can continue discussing.
From where you came up from and living in and around that, you know that gangs are damaging to our community. And it may be that a whole lot of rap music and the rap industry is, I mean, honestly, it sounds like a modern day version of kind of WWE wrestling that used to be on television, where people would just get up and posture and act like they hated each other. And it may be that that's a lot of what is going on in the music industry with rap. But whether it is fake or not, it has tremendous impact on kids and young people who think this is cool. This is what I want to do. Look at him. He's a millionaire. I can do that by being, a gangster in the streets. And that's not true. What you're likely to have happen to you if you're a gangster in the streets is you get shot, you get killed, or you get thrown in prison. And those are, by far the most likely outcomes. And, you've been in here watching the trial, and you've seen the pictures of Mr. Ryan posing with a gun as big as he is at 15 years old and going out and shooting and killing another teenager. And that's what gangs do. And that's unfortunately a lot of what rap music does. And if you are a modern day John Lennon, he might have rapped too in this day and age. I don't know, but I know you're talented. And even if you choose to continue to rap, you need to try to use your influence to let kids know that that is not the way to go, and that there are ways out of poverty besides hooking up with the powerful guy at the end of the street selling drugs. And, I know that happens for protection sometimes, but a much better way would be getting an education and hanging around with people who set a good example. And you be one of those people that sets a good example. All right, so that's my high horse on that. I could also go on. But I want you to try to be more of the solution and less of the problem. All right? All right, so it is not...
So the judge is now about to get into the sentencing, but that was just her admonishing him to say, hey, use your power for good. Like, do better. And him already saying, Thug already saying, I want to do better. I want to get back into the community, and I want to do better. His lawyer did a hell of a job because for them to have a 15-year deal that they couldn't agree upon, and then it comes off the table, now he's facing a full 45 years. And for his lawyer to get this down to 15 years of probation, hell of a job. Excellent job. His lawyer got him 15 years of probation when he was facing 45 years. Now let's listen to the judge break down the sentencing so you can understand how it goes. And again, I'm going to let it play a little bit faster at normal speed so we can get through it. And then I'll try to explain some of the finer points as needed.
Lost on the court that the state, had they been able to come to agreement on certain special conditions, was willing to entirely dismiss the RICO count.
Let's stop right there. She said it is not lost on the court that the state was willing to dismiss the entire RICO count. So she's saying, look, prosecution, the defense just said, can this man get 10 years essentially? 10 years of probation, 5 that he has to serve time, reduced down to his 2 years he's been in jail, so that's time served, plus the 3 years that they're recommending of active probation, where he's got to report and check in and all of that, and another 7 years where he don't have to report and check in, but he's still on probation. So basically they're saying give him 10 years. That's what the defense is saying on the right hand. On the left hand, the prosecution said, hey, give him 15 years probation. We couldn't work it out. So now they're like, you know what, just give him the 45 years. Just forget it. We couldn't work out a deal. Throw the book at him. That's what the prosecution said over here on the left hand. Defense says, no, give him 10 years. The judge says, it's not lost on me that the prosecution, who's now asking for 45 years, at one point, y'all asked for 15 years and y'all gonna throw out the RICO. She said, I ain't forget that. And now she's continuing the sentencing by saying, I want y'all to remember, I didn't forget that part.
Was willing to entirely dismiss one of the gang counts and was willing to entirely dismiss this, machine gun count. Was willing to give a sentence that permitted Mr. Williams to walk out of the door today, and therefore does not seem to be particularly worried that Mr. Williams, if on the streets, would be a danger to society. I'm taking that into consideration in crafting my sentence.
Boom. Crafting the sentence by saying, look, y'all was going to release him back into society with no RICO. You wasn't worried about the gun charge. Hey, you didn't think he's a menace. You didn't think he was a danger. I'm going to remember that too as I now sentence him. And look, let's remember, after the deals were presented and the pleas to the court and the thanking the court for hearing, the judge didn't take a recess. She didn't take no time off. She didn't say, you know what? I'm going to think about this. I'm going to have a cup of coffee. I'm going to use the bathroom. I'm going to sleep on it. We'll come back tomorrow and I'm going to sentence. Nope. She went right in. She knew where she was going. The judge knew. She already knew where she was headed. She wasn't worried about nothing. She ain't worried about nothing. She ain't worried about nothing. She ain't worried about nothing. She wasn't worried. She knew exactly where she was going. That was a French Montana reference if y'all didn't get that. But yeah, she knew where she was going. Let's keep rocking and rolling.
And in permitting a no-low plea to the RICO count in one of the 2 gang counts, I would not be permitting the no-low to the one if you were not pleading guilty to at least one of them. But you are.
That was important. She said, I would not permit you to plead nolo contendere, which means no contest. So she said, I wouldn't allow you to plead nolo if you didn't plead guilty to one of these charges. Because you'll see later how she says, I need y'all to tell me you agree that some of these charges are true. And he agreed that the facts prove that he's guilty of some of these charges. And they said, yes, Your Honor, we agree. And yes, Your Honor, we confess that he is guilty of some of these charges, the ones that he's admitted to and said he's guilty to. The other ones where he don't think he's guilty, it's unsure, it's unprovable, they didn't do a good job of the burden of proof, they're saying no low contendere, no contest. I'm not going to contest this, but I'm not going to say I did it either.
And y'all admit a factual basis for the counts that you are pleading guilty to. I find there to be a factual basis for those counts and for the remaining counts with which you are charged. I am going to impose a sentence, and I've taken a little bit of the suggested special conditions from the defense and a little bit of the special conditions suggested by the prosecution. On count 1, the court sentence is 20 years to serve 5 years, commuted to time served, the balance of 15 years to be probated, and
Whoa, she's going to start moving quick. Let me make sure I got this on the right speed. Because I want to hear all this stuff at normal speed.
$25,000 fine.
Here we go.
5 years, suggested special conditions from the defense and a little bit of the special conditions suggested by the prosecution. On On count one.
Count one.
The court sentence is 20 years to
20.
serve 5 years, commuted to time served, the balance of 15 years to be probated, and a
All right, so count one was 20 years. I believe that is one of the ones that he pled guilty to. 20 years. Reduced down to 5 years active, and then reduced even further down to the 2 years served. All right. So 20 years down to you about to walk out because you already served 2 years. This is incredible.
$25,000 fine.
$25,000
On
fine.
count two, the sentence is 5 years to serve, commuted to time served. That's the minimum sentence that's permitted on that count. It is required to be run consecutively. I'm going to run it consecutive to count one, but I am going to backload. Oh, I'm sorry, that is not commuted. That is 5 years to serve, and it's going to be run consecutively to count one, backloaded, by which I mean after you serve your 15 years of probation, if you have been successful on that probation, and I sincerely hope that you are, then at the end of that 15 years, I will commute the entire rest of any service portion of your sentence to time served.
Boom. All right, now let's say this. So she's saying, all right, you pled guilty to the first charge. That's a 20-year charge. In order for you to serve that 20 years, you're going to have to do 5 in prison, 5 on probation. The 5 years that you have to serve in prison is commuted down to the 2 that you've already done, and then 3 years of probation. So they're saying, look, 20 years, 5 years, 2 years. That 2 plus the other 3 gives him the 5 years. So he's going to have 2 years, that 3 years of probation right there, then the other 15 on top of it. She's saying this next charge, charge number 2, has to be served consecutive. It must come after that. So after you serve your 15 years probation, you're supposed to do 5 years of prison. She said, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to backdate that. If you serve the 15 years of probation with no incident, then that 5 years, I'm going to commute it down to the 5 you're about to serve right now. She basically will say, I'm going to say that you've already done that time. I'm going to backdate that time. That's grace and mercy. But I mean, he gotta walk the line. He gotta do right. But that is grace and mercy.
So I'll get to the end of it and give you the total sentence, but I'm also going to impose a $15,000 fine with regard to that count.
So I think it was a $25,000 fine. Now another 15. That's $40,000 fine.
Count 57, 20 years to serve 5, commuted to time served, the balance of 15 years probated, concurrent with count.
So that count is the same as the first count. 20 years. You only got to serve 5. Probate it down to the concurrent time that you've already done. See what I'm saying? So she's saying you got a couple of 20-year sentences that we're going to put on top of each other concurrently. So still grace and mercy right there.
One. Count 58, 10 years to serve 5, commuted to time served, balance probated, concurrent with count 1.
Same thing. 10 years, only got to serve 5. It's going to be prorated down to the time served that you've done, and it's concurrent. So another blessing.
59, 5 years to serve, commuted to time served, concurrent with count 1.
5 years, bring it down, concurrent to count 1. So all this stuff is concurrent to count 1, other than count number 2.
60, 5 years to serve, commuted to time served, concurrent with count 1.
Same thing.
Count 61, 5 years to serve, that is required to be also a consecutive sentence.
Consecutive.
So that's going to be run consecutively to count 56 and backloaded. Count.
So that looks like that consecutive. It looks like they had the original 20 years, now 5 consecutive, and then 5 more. So that would have been 30 full years if he had gotten the full time.
62, 10 years to serve, also required to be served consecutively.
Consecutive. That's how you got to 40. Good Lord. That's how you got to 40. You had 20, then you had 5 that was consecutive mandatory, 5 that was consecutive mandatory. That's 30. Then 10 that's consecutive mandatory. That's how you get to 40. Remember, he was facing 45 years. And watch what the judge does for him.
That's going to be consecutive to count 61, also backloaded. So essentially, the total sentence is 40 years to serve the first 5 years in prison, but commuted to the time that you have already served, followed by 15 years on probation, followed then by the backloaded 20 years, which can be served in custody and will be served in custody if you are not successful on your probation. If you are successful in completing your 15 years probation, that will be commuted to time served.
Let's pause and take a breath. So there it is. He has been sentenced to 40 years. However, 5 years that he has to serve right now, which has been commuted down or probated down to the 2 that he's already done, plus 3 years of probation. All right, so boom. He don't have to serve that 5. They're saying you've already done that. Now he has to do 15 years of probation. 15 years. At the end of that 15 years of probation, he now must do another 20 years. In, not out, in. The thing is, if he successfully serves that 15-year probation, the judge says, I'll commute that sentence. That 20, gone. You do right for 15 years, you get another 20, then we ain't looking at you. Now, I know 15 years is a long time, but when you were facing 40, 45 years, essentially the judge gave him 40, but she gave him such a gracious 40. He's got to walk the line and do everything right. Now, let's continue with the conditions. So when people say Thug didn't take the deal, there was an original deal from prosecutors. That's what I want y'all to know. There was an original deal from prosecutors for 15 years of probation, but they couldn't figure out the specifics. They couldn't figure out the specifics of that deal. They were struggling with, well, is he going to be able to fly? Is he going to be able to go international? Is he going to be able to check in with certain cities? Is he going to be able to work with felons? Is he going to be able to work with gang members that are already under contract with his companies? You know, there's a lot of that going on. So they could not come to a conclusion to the original 15-year probationary deal that the prosecution presented. So what happened? Prosecution said, man, forget it. Throw the book at him. Give him 45 years. So then his defense team said, wait. We want to put up a non-negotiable deal to the judge and basically ask for leniency if we accept guilty pleas on certain things. And so now the judge is saying, since you've pled guilty to certain charges and you've pled no contest to others, here is what we're doing for you. And it is essentially a 40-year sentence down to 15 years of probation. If you perform that 15 properly, the other 20 are gone. And the first 5, we've already commuted down to time served. So he got to walk the line, but this, y'all tell me how you feel about this. How do y'all feel, man? How do y'all feel? Everybody's watching on YouTube, everybody watching on Instagram and Twitter. Tell me how you feel. Do y'all think this is a good deal? Shireen, you think this is a good deal? Evelyn, Katrina, you think it's a good deal? I'm asking my lifers. What y'all think? What about my lifers on YouTube? Is this a good deal? What y'all think? Put it in the comments, everybody. Let's interact. All right, and then I'll continue while you guys start pouring in the comments. I mean, man, when you facing that many years, I mean, you got to be thankful. It's got to be a good deal, right? I mean, the first 15, maybe you couldn't move a certain way, but now they come back with this new 15 with the 20 at the end. If you screw up, I mean, maybe it's better for you in terms of how you're able to move. Let's play this. Let's keep going.
You are to remain on reporting status for the first half of your probation, active reporting for the first 7.5 years of your probation, and that is pursuant to OCGA 17-10-1, subsection 2. I'm sorry.
Look at this lawyer praying. Let me tell y'all why he put his head down and prayed. Because his lawyer, just asked for 3 years active probation. 3 years active probation. The judge says, no, Playboy, 7.5 years of active probation. So he ain't got to have active probation for 15 years, but he got to have active probation for 7.5. All right. So that's why his lawyer has that look on his face and is praying, because he was like, man, I wanted that lower. I wanted it 3 years, but you know what? At least it ain't the full 15 years.
Sorry, A2A. And Mr. Steele and Mr. Adams, in order to keep him on reporting status, there needs to be good cause shown. We all can see that good cause is shown here.
Stipulate.
All right, I appreciate that. Special conditions of your probation.
What the cost? What do you mean?
Can I have a second, Your Honor?
Sure.
So Thug was asking, what does good cause mean? What do you mean good cause?
All right. You had enough time to talk with your attorneys?
Yes.
Okay.
So in that case, they were saying, look, you have to have a good reason to release him from active probation check-ins. Like if he, if they want to reduce that time, that 7.5 years, you got to have a good cause. So and if they gonna violate him and say he didn't check in, they got to have good cause. So I think that's what they were just saying.
All right, special conditions of your probation. After 48 hours from your release, you are to stay away from the metro Atlanta area, and that's defined by the U.S. Census Bureau. It may change, but you can look that up anytime to figure out what that is. For the first 10 years of your probation, subject to the following exceptions, you are permitted to be in the metro Atlanta area to attend any wedding, funeral, or graduation from high school, college, or graduate school of any of your immediate family members. And immediate family members is defined the same way that you all were contemplating it when you were negotiating.
So he can, over the next 10 years, attend weddings, graduations, and funerals. And they later amended it to say, and including visiting sick relatives in his immediate family that are in the Atlanta area, as defined by, the state, the Metro Atlanta area, whatever they're calling Metro Atlanta. So, I mean, that could include, Atlanta. You want to include Decatur, you want to include Lithonia, you want to include College Park, you want to include Clayton, you want to include Riverdale, you want to include Cobb. I mean, how far are we going? You going to Alpharetta? So Metro Atlanta, it could mean a lot. It can mean a lot. It can mean a lot. Okay. So sorry, I wanted to share that again. Let's continue with that part, and then we're gonna move on to the Meg information. So he's got to stay out of Metro Atlanta for the next 10 years unless he has a reason, which is death, funeral, sickness, wedding, graduation.
You can get here up to 24 hours prior to any such event, and you need to leave within 48 hours after any such event. In addition, during each year of your probation, I'm going to require that you come to the Metro Atlanta area and make a live anti-gang and anti-gun violence presentation 4 times a year, each year of your probation. at a grade school, a middle school, a boys or girls club, anything like that, that type of group. And if you want to, that presentation can include a benefit concert, and these presentations may count towards your required community service hours. I'm going to impose that during each year of your probation, you perform 100 hours of community service.
All right. So he's got to do 100 hours of community service, and he's got to do 4 anti-gang talks per year. So once every quarter, once every 3 months, something like that, he's got to go and talk to an elementary school, high school, something, and discuss anti-gang, um, like a program. He's got to be anti-gang and do a presentation. Okay, gotta do it. Let's keep rocking.
You are, and this is required by the fact that there's a gang conviction. You shall not knowingly have contact of any kind or character with any other member or associate of any criminal street gang. Exception to that, if your brother is a member of any street gang, I hope you talk him into getting out of it. Quantavious Greer, and then also Sergio Kitchens, as long as you are contractually obligated to him. That is going to include anybody who is named in this indictment, except as absolutely necessary to conduct the lawful business of your musical career, and to any extent that the state is not agreeing to the exception for Mr. Kitchens. In the event that that part is not enforceable because it is only a portion of a special condition, going to provide that that be severable from the rest of this, and I'll put some case sites in the Senate sheet for that. You are in no way to promote any criminal street gang or any criminal street gang activity, including on any social media platform. You are not to utilize any hand signs, terminology, or language that promotes any criminal street gang.
Hold up. So y'all got to understand that part. Look, man, for when people make when people be making music, you know what I mean, and they throwing up signs, they twist up their fingers, as Snoop said in one of his lines. It becomes part of the music. It becomes part of the culture. It becomes part of the visuals. They quick to throw up, you know, throw up their hood, right? So now she's saying you can't even throw up signs, you can't associate, you can't promote, you can't get on social media. Mind you, guys, this is the terms of his probation. If he in a video and he inadvertently throw up a sign, you know what I'm saying, because he's so used to it, or maybe it's just the way he expressed himself and it ain't gang related, it's just something that him and his crew do, or somebody, you know, his block, you know what I'm saying, but it's not a gang, it's just something that they do, like a handshake. You know, we handshake all the time, we do all kind of special handshakes. Man, someone watching, the hip hop police, whoever, they could violate this man. You understand the kind of line he got to walk now? He got to walk the line, like for 15 years. Not 15 months, 15 years. I mean, it's still grace and mercy though, because it could have been worse. He was facing 45, y'all.
You are not to participate in any criminal street gang activity. You are not to knowingly engage in any contact with any of the victims that are listed in this indictment, or with any of their family members. And you may not have in your possession or with arm's reach any kind of a firearm, because you're going to be a convicted felon. And that is, except I know that you have security and you need security. You can be within arm's reach of a firearm that is in the possession of either licensed law enforcement or licensed security personnel that are in your security detail, or anybody that you're performing with.
All right, so that means that he, Young Thug, cannot be in possession of a firearm, and he can't even be within arm's reach. So you can't lay it on the table and he can grab it. Nope. All right. So he's going to have to be careful with that. Now, he can be within arm's reach if it's on the person of someone that's licensed, a security guard, police officer, something like that. If they're licensed, yeah, he could do that. He could be near them, but he can't pick one up or be in arm's reach of one otherwise. All right. Let's keep going. We're almost done with stipulations. But they did allow him a few things.
Uh, You are to submit to random drug screens and not use any drugs unless they are prescribed for you by a licensed physician. You are to execute a Fourth Amendment waiver that will permit the search of your person, residence, vehicles, and electronics for any firearms, any criminal street gang paraphernalia, or any illicit drugs.
So he's gonna have a waiver where they have a right to search him whenever they feel like it, and his person and his car and all of that.
And as I mentioned, with regard to one of the first of your co-defendants from this trial, at least since I've been involved, to plead guilty, our Uniform Superior Court rules instruct and provide that it is absolutely proper for a judge to grant leniency in sentencing when, quote, the interests of the public in the effective administration of criminal justice are served, unquote. And I think that this plea is in the interest of the public and in the interest of effective administration of justice.
Nice.
Have been
So she's saying that, look, I can be lenient because the law allows me to, as long as if it's in the public interest and in the interest of justice. So she's saying, although I'm being lenient, it's going to serve the public. It's going to serve the, however she termed it. I forgot the little statement.
trying to ensure that, to the extent I can, this trial also abides by that. It's been challenging at certain times. I find your plea to be freely, knowingly, intelligently, and voluntarily entered with an understanding of the consequences, and I accept it as such. I also need to inform you that your attorneys were going to represent you through either the last day of this term of court or 30 days from now, whichever is later, and any of the filings that were mentioned that need to be filed within that time, they would file on your behalf unless they are permitted to withdraw from representing you before that time. I am not going to impose the conditions suggested by your counsel about the benefit concerts and the donations to the sheriff's office, but I certainly strongly encourage you to do those things and to do and continue to do things that benefit your community. And
That's important. She said, I'm not going to impose. Your lawyers suggested that you would do benefit concerts and donate it to a 501(c) of your choice. And your counsel proposed that you would do donate $100,000 a year for the next 3 years to the sheriff's office to do gun buyback drives. That was part of what they proposed. She said, no, I'm not going to make you do that. You can donate your money on your own, and you can give back into your community how you choose. I'm not going to mandate that you have to give $100,000 a year to the sheriff's office or give up your proceeds to benefit a charity. You've already been doing that. I'm not going to force you to do it. You've already been doing it. So that'll be interesting to see if he does end up still having a gun buyback drive with the sheriff's office of Fulton County.
especially help young people to stay out of criminal trouble. And unless there is anything from counsel other than that,
I have one matter, Your Honor.
okay, and does the state as well?
Your Honor, with regards to Ms. Williams being permitted to come to the Metro Atlanta area
Yes,
or Cleveland Avenue area for a funeral or the other items,
right.
can you also consider, God forbid, there's a serious medical condition of a person that
In
is,
his immediate family,
yeah.
certainly, we can add that. And I also meant to mention, because I know you do travel all over in order to pursue your career, that it's permissible for your probation to be transferred to out of state, and that has to be done through probation, but that is fine with the court. And you may also keep your, nobody's mentioned it, but keep your passport and travel out of state and internationally to the extent that you need to do that for business purposes as well.
Okay. So he'll be able to travel out of
Right,
state
Mr. Body.
and out of country for business purposes. That's pretty much it, you guys, on the Young Thug case. I'll just turn it down here in the background. that's the essentially what happened. He's got 15 years of probation. There's a lot of stipulations, but he is a free man. 15 years of probation, a lot of stipulations, but he was able to be released, and I think they're going to release him, if not today, maybe tomorrow. I think he just has to go back to get all of his things and be released and processed out. So I think they're going to release him fairly soon, I'm sure. In fact, if y'all know if he's been released already, let me know. He might have already been released. So that's what happened with Thug. Now, did y'all hear what happened with Megan? Did y'all hear what happened with Megan the Stallion? All right. Megan the Stallion, y'all. Some people are saying that Megan the Stallion lied on Tory. All right. Now she came out and she admitted that she lied about her relationship with Tory. She lied about her relationship with Tory to Gail when she was interviewed by Gail a few months ago. Let me first show you a few other things. If y'all remember with Tory Lanez, Tory was found guilty. Do I have something to show? Yeah. This is an article I put up on Dave Life TV a while back. Tory was found guilty on all charges. I'm going to try to zoom in. Hey, there it is. Look at technology. Tory Lanez found guilty on all charges. A jury of 7 women and 5 men found Daystar Peterson, aka Tory Lanez, guilty on all counts. Count 1, assault with a semi-automatic firearm. Count 2, having a loaded unregistered firearm in a vehicle. And count 3, discharging a firearm with gross negligence. So he was found guilty at some point, I want to say last year. And it was a big hoopla around it. So assault with a firearm, having a loaded unregistered firearm in a vehicle, and then discharging it. Now, if we just notice from the case of Young Thug, if you're a felon, you cannot be in possession of a firearm. So I don't know if he was ever gonna beat count 2, having a loaded unregistered firearm in a vehicle. I don't know if he's gonna ever beat that one because I believe Tory Lanez was already a felon, and that would have to be outside of arm's reach, and it would have to be proven that it ain't his. So possibly, but that might have been a tough one. But then he was also found guilty of discharging a firearm with gross negligence. And if y'all remember, there was a big hoopla around who shot Megan, who shot her, who shot her. The father, Tory Lanez's father, had come out and he had said some things. Let's find it. His father came out in his defense and he said, so look, Tory's name is Daystar Peterson. His father, Sunstar Peterson, alleges that Rock Nation bought key witnesses. So his father was saying, hey, look, Sunstar Peterson, the preacher and father of Daystar Peterson, aka Tory Lanez, went off after his son was convicted on all charges. He alleged that Rock Nation bought the neighbor a key witness that said he saw Lanez shooting recklessly. So the father, Sunstar Peterson, believes that there was a conspiracy to convict Tory, and that the key witness, the neighbor that said, yeah, I saw him shooting recklessly, was paid off and bought by allegedly Rock Nation. And that's what Tory Lanez's father, Sunstar Peterson, alleged. All right. Then after that, I believe Megan came out and said some things. Let's look at this. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, the key witness. The key witness. Let's read this article here. Key witness changes her story. All right. Key witness changed her story. Harris changed her story when she took the stand, saying she doesn't remember much of what happened that night, prompting questions over which account the jury will believe. Now, if you remember correctly, her friend, I want to say Keisha, Miss Harris, had originally said that she remembered, she testified to one thing, and now she came back later and said, "Oh, I don't remember what happened. I don't remember what happened." And everybody was tripping out, like saying, "Yo, man, what is up with this?" So I'll keep reading. A key piece of evidence presented to the jury was a text message that Harris sent to Pete's bodyguard, to Megan Pete. That's Megan Thee Stallion. So text message that Miss Harris sent to Megan's bodyguard at the time, Justin Edison, moments after the incident, saying, "Help, Tory shot Meg." So she did have a text message saying that. Asked about the message, Harris said she was panicking when she sent it. "I don't know why I said that to Justin. I didn't see anything happen," she testified. Harris initially corroborated details that point to Lanez as the alleged shooter in a September video interview with prosecutors. That's what it was. So originally she had corroborated key details saying that Tory did it. And now she got on the stand and said, "I don't know why I sent that text. I was panicking. I didn't see him do it." So Harris claimed in the interview that Lanez assaulted her and threatened to shoot her, but on the witness stand, she said she doesn't remember that happening. So now you had one of the key witnesses coming back and saying, I don't remember saying all of that stuff, right? And now Tory Lanez himself, he had actually pled not guilty. I want to show you a small piece of that. I think that's this one. So let's look at this excerpt. Tory Lanez pleads not guilty. Lanez did not take the witness stand during the trial, and his attorneys argued that their client was not the shooter. It's a very unfortunate case. Lanez defense team attorney George Megdasyan said during closing arguments, someone got shot. Megan Pete got shot. My client is not the shooter. My client is being falsely accused. He just came out and said it. Yes, she got shot, but my client didn't do it. Lanez, a popular rapper whose legal name is Daystar Peterson, was initially charged in October 2020 with one felony count each, which we read earlier: assault, carrying a loaded weapon, and personal use of a firearm. Okay, cool. So yeah, we talked about that. So Megan has now come out and said, "Oh, I was lying when I spoke to Gail about the nature of my relationship with Tory." Let's go to that. Let's go to that clip right there. No, I don't. No, I don't. I don't. No, I don't want free trial. Y'all messing up my show. Let me find my clip, people. There it is. Yeah, Megan. All right, so this is a clip of Megan admitting on her documentary. I don't know if you guys have seen it. I ain't seen the documentary yet. I gotta check it out. But Megan Thee Stallion has a documentary out. What is it called? In Her Own Words, I believe it is. Somebody tell me. Lifers, what's her documentary called? Y'all let me know. Y'all let me know in the comments. So Megan has a documentary out, and she admitted in the documentary that she lied to Gail about the nature of her relationship with Tory. Here's what she said.
Yes, bitch, I lied to Gail King, bitch. First of all, I didn't know that bitch was even gonna ask me about that shit. Bitch, she's always gonna talk about the shooting. Why'd you ask me about fucking Tory? That's not what this is about. Even if I was, I fucked this nigga like once, maybe twice on a drunk night, bitch. You kept catching me out of my fucking mind. Yes, bitch, I lied to Gail King, bitch. First of all, I didn't know that bitch was even gonna ask me about that shit. Bitch, she's always gonna talk about this shooting. Why'd you ask me about fucking Tory? That's not what this is about. Even if I was, I fucked this nigga like once, maybe twice on a drunk night. Bitch, you kept catching me out of my fucking mind.
All right, so that's Megan in her own words from her documentary saying, yes, I slept with Tory. Maybe once, maybe twice on a drunk night. Right? I was out of my mind. He kept catching me when I was hella drunk. Why is Gail asking me, did I smash this man? What is her purpose? I don't know why she asking me this. So people are tripping out online. Everybody's just like, Megan lied about the nature of their relationship. And why is that important? It's important because she also said that, he shot her. The friend, Mrs. Harris, she said one thing in a statement to police corroborating details about him shooting, then got on the stand and said, I don't remember none of that. I said stuff in duress. So you could say that the friend changed her story. So now you have two people that changed their stories, or that I'll say with Megan, at least when it comes to the shooting, she lied about her sexual relationship with him. So now people are suggesting, well, what else did she lie about? Maybe this is a chance for Tory to get his case relooked at. And if I'm not mistaken, there was something special they asked recently about his case. Maybe y'all can help me out, lifers. What was going on with the case recently where Tory asked for some sort of review or something like that? I'm looking for questions. All right. We got to look that up because I want to know. What did Tory ask for recently? What he asked for something recently, y'all. They want him to review his case or something along those lines. And I'm just trying to remember what it was they were asking about. Do y'all remember that? I don't know if y'all remember what was being asked. Let's look it up. Let's look it up. Tory Lanez case. What happened on the latest one? Put it in the comments if y'all know. All right, Billboard. 2 days ago on Billboard. Let's see what they're saying on Billboard. All right, this might be something to actually discuss. Show y'all what's happening on this Billboard thing. There it is. All right. Boom, found it. All right, so according to Billboard, y'all, Tory Lanez was not declared innocent by appeals court over Megan Thee Stallion shooting. Okay. So they took it to an appeals court. He was not declared innocent. False claims about Tory Lanez case went viral on social media over the weekend, prompting Megan's attorneys to threaten legal action. They're going to face consequences. Let's see. All right, Friday evening, almost 2 years after Tory Lanez was convicted, post on X, formerly Twitter, blared stunning news about his case that a California appeals court had found Tory Lanez to be innocent and would reinvestigate to see if he was unfairly prosecuted. The claims, which appear to have been posted by an account called Academics TV. Dang, they calling out DJ Academics. Dang. Run by the popular blogger and podcaster DJ Academics, came with a screenshot of an official-looking document signed by 3 judges. Numerous commenters celebrated the singer had seemingly been vindicated. Just one problem. That's not at all what happened. Instead, the appeals court merely issued a procedural order acknowledging that it had received a new petition from Tory Lanez's legal team and would consider it alongside its other appeals. Okay. So the court had received a procedural order asking it to review a petition of the from his legal team to consider alongside other appeals. That's all that occurred. Something that was obvious to anyone who actually read the document. Lane's challenges to the conviction remains pending, and they continue to face long odds for success. All right. So that's what happened. That's what happened. So an appeals court said, yes, we will look at what's going on with Tory. We'll look at it. That's what they said. All right. Well, that's good to know. That they're going to look at it. That's good to know. So I got to ask y'all, man, like, what y'all think? What y'all think? What y'all think? Do y'all think that Tory is gonna get like a favorable thing with this appeal now that it's come out that Megan is lied? I don't know. Y'all gotta let me know in the comments. Do you think that Young Thug got a fair sentence? 15 years probation? Is that fair? Or no? What do y'all think? Let me know in the comments. If anybody want to come up to the stage and talk to me, put in the comments. Let me know. Somebody said, how is Thug going to remember all those stipulations? Because he want to stay out of jail. His lawyers are going to remember. He's going to remember. His managers are going to remember. He's going to know his exact stipulations. He want to stay out of prison for sure. He will abide. Trust me. He will. What else is going on, y'all? What else y'all think about this? Y'all going to be safe out there trick-or-treating? I know it's late on the East Coast. People are probably already in and done. On the West Coast, people still out there. The grown folks are probably in Hollywood partying. Be safe out there. I know the kids already did their thing. Somebody bought us some Boston baked beans. Somebody brought some old school candies out, man. Some lemon heads. Y'all remember lemon heads? Pop Rocks. I remember Pop Rocks. And then the last one was these King's Candy. I guess it's like a pixie stick. It was made to look like a pack of cigarettes. I might try one of them. I ain't had a pixie stick in a minute. Hey, man, I appreciate y'all for joining. If y'all got comments, put them in the comments. Make sure that you like and subscribe. Make sure that you like and subscribe. Follow us on Twitter. Subscribe on Twitter. I'm going to turn this down for a second because what's up? Y'all got to talk to me. Lifers, what else is popping? What else is popping out there? Any other questions before I head out? Any other questions before I head out? Let me see. Let me check. Hold on. Faithful Queen get ambushed and the 4 boys stole his Nike sneakers. Oh, Faithful Queen said she saw a boy getting bullied and they took his sneakers. I'm glad you called the police because we don't condone bullying. You know, the world is a trip these days, y'all. The world is different than what it used to be, y'all. We got to be careful. What y'all think? Any final thoughts or any final comments on Young Thug's case or on Megan Thee Stallion before I head out? All right. So in that case, then I guess you know what? I don't see nobody joining. So we're going to call it a night. I appreciate y'all for joining, everybody. Please be safe out there. Have a safe Halloween. Be careful. All right. Make sure you subscribe, man. Subscribe on Twitter, on YouTube. Get us to 1,000. We're trying to get to 1,000 before Christmas, man. All right. I'll holler at y'all. It's Dave, man. Peace.